And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. And Tim Turner arrives just in time for the
Just in the nick of
start
time.
of the show tonight. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friends Tree Mcdougal and Tim Turner. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's got their brackets set up for the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament. I plan on sweeping my little uh, 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 NCAA tournament bracket with my buddies this year after finishing dead last year. Are you guys doing brackets?
I will do brackets, but it's harder now because I don't know the players. I don't know. Yeah, it's harder for me to do them. But yeah, I consistently always had Duke and Carolina in my Final Four, always with one of the two winners. But who knows right now?
Yeah. Tim, what about you, Tim?
Uh, I don't know if I'm gonna do brackets because I don't. I mean, I think it's disingenuous to get up there and bust up and do brackets and not having seen not nary a team play.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
I'm gonna get up there and pretend like I know something, unless I just root for uniforms and say which one is the prettiest ones.
It's
You know,
always just
Hey,
about
sometimes that's the best doggone way to do it.
crapshoot. It's a crapshoot.
oh man,
Hey, do you think we are kind of oversaturated with college basketball now because
Hmm.
there's so many ways to watch the game nowadays. You can stream, you can watch, your cable outlets, your local outlets. Is it too much?
I don't know if it's too much. It's like, but where do you go to find it? Maybe that's the issue. Thinking about what you were saying, streaming is this and that. What say you, Mr. Turner?
I don't think it's too much. I mean, it's just content. My thing is, I think I've aged out of that demographic where where it matters. And I say that to say
Hmm.
I don't care about all the talking head shows that they have, and I just want to watch the games. But you got to
Yeah.
suffer through the talking head shows to get to the games. So um,
I,
I don't think it's too much because there are new conferences and new schools and stuff that are getting exposure now. And to me, I think that's a really good thing that you got new folks getting some shine. So it's not all bad.
yeah, yeah. You know what, Tim? I'm kind of with you on that, and that goes for most sports. Man, just tell what time is kickoff, what time is tip off, what time is the first pitch. Rarely do I want to hear all the other stuff now
Yeah,
because
because it's like I was thinking about that earlier today. It's like if I hear one more sob story about somebody growing up with a house with a dirt floor, and he had a brother with 9 arms, and he playing football to try to get one of those stories. I've had enough of them. I'm okay. Just kick off. I'm done.
yeah, let's go with it. Absolutely, but I think we ought to start off, of course, with the NCAA since they'll be tipping off Thursday, and for a lot of people, it is a great time. And in both the men's and women's, the women's games has come on so strong in the last few years, and you can argue the women's tournament has been better than the men's, more dramatic than the men's field over the last few years. Uh, UConn's a defending champion in the NCAA for the men, and LSU will be trying to defend their title for the women, and both still have strong teams. But you heard a lot more about the LSU women's basketball team if you think back to last year than the UConn men.
Oh yeah. I think you have because I was trying to think who won the championship, and I heard someone say, UConn's going for back-to-back titles. I said they won.
Yeah, I know.
I said okay. Oh, I guess they did. I was thinking it was a really like not that UConn isn't the blue blood, but when I think UConn basketball, I'm thinking the women.
You taking the
You know,
women's game?
Thinking of who, Tim?
the women.
Oh,
women's,
yes. I
you
do
know.
think about women when I think UConn. Yeah.
So it's kind of difficult to think otherwise, but I think they're one of those schools. And I'm thinking there's like, is it either 12 or 21 of the schools that are in the tournament have both the men's and the women's teams are in there. And I was
That's
thinking
pretty
UConn
cool.
is one of them. So,
That's pretty cool.
I think
Yeah.
that speaks for the program. I remember the year, I think it was Carolina won both the men's and the women's championships the same year. And I don't know when the last time something like that had happened. So, a lot of excitement on a lot of different campuses this time of year. And Hope Springs Eternal for those 15 and 16, and sort of kind of for the ones that are playing. Too bad for one of the playing games is over. Howard lost by 3 to Wagner. So
They came back. They were down 17 at one
they
time.
were down 13 when I was listening to it. So they lost by 3, 71-68. So
Oh, well, good accounting anyway for.
and I think it's the NIT. Texas Southern went to the NIT, or one of those other things. And I think Tarleton State beat them 82-71. So they're out. So Grambling I think, will be the next somebody up tomorrow night when they play Montana State. Winner of that game gets Purdue.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of the NIT, there's been some controversy because of a lot of teams just saying, "Hey, thanks but no thanks." And Tom Crean, the former Marquette coach, former assistant under Tom Izzo at Michigan State, kind of went in on those teams for turning everybody down, for not playing. He's like, man, this is a great time to play. If I was coaching, my guys would play. This is an honor. The NIT is still important. This is a chance for you to develop your team for next year. And he said, more importantly, it's a chance for these guys to play some more games, your seniors, to get a chance to play for the last time on a collegiate level. And he was talking about St. John's, where Rick Pitino said no. Memphis, where Penny Hardaway said no. Syracuse said no. Ole Miss, Pittsburgh, and Oklahoma all said no to being part of the 32-team NCAA. And
But you know what I say to all those guys? I say Rick Pitino, Penny Hardaway. Let me see what these other cats. All of you guys, you are what your record says you are. You are what the committee says you are. Ole Miss, you're not too good for the NIT. Oklahoma, you're not too good for the NIT. Indiana, I don't know what you're thinking, Mike Woodson. You're not too good for the NIT. Same for Pitt. You guys, you get your feelings hurt because you didn't make the big dance. So be it. Pitino, too bad. Too bad. Larry Bird's not walking in that door. Or excuse me, Carter Snecker's not walking through that door. So just get over it. Just get over it.
But I think we had the same conversation last year where people thought they were like saying, I'm not going to participate in the NIT. They're just like, we had the same conversation. So I think that my memory's not that great, but I do remember that conversation from last year.
You're right. We did.
And that people were like, nah, I'm out. Just forget it. We can't be in the big game. Then no, we're not going to do it. And so I think that it won't be the last time we hear teams say that, but it's a little bit of sour grapes, perhaps. But everybody
become more and more like this, Tree, and because it was like this in football. If I'm not going to be one of the top, the Final Four schools, we're not going to play. You see how Georgia, beat down Florida State because half the team said no thanks, and the guys that did play were just got mollywopped, and that kind of thing. But the more and more people feel like they're entitled, they're going to take their ball and go home if they're not part of the thing. Granted, they've expanded the field in football, so it'll be less crybabies. But it's still, there are 64 teams. Really, there's more than that. What is that? 8 teams?
It's 32 in the NIT.
Yeah.
So 64, 32.
Main one. And the NIT, then you got the CIT, which, is another tournament, which is even below the NIT,
So they don't want just a participation trophy. They want bragging rights of the NCAA.
And I think maybe finances are tied to it as well, maybe. These coaches,
at one time, the NIT.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Ricky.
No, I was just going to say, Trey, at one time, the NIT was the tournament to win.
It was.
They played the finals at Madison Square Garden. They've actually moved the Final Four weekend to Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. So the NIT realizes they got to shake things up also. But let me this is what Crean had to say. Again, former Marquette coach. There's not plenty of time to play. There's not plenty of time to get your players on the floor and give them a chance to get better. There's not plenty of time for guys to continue to play that may never get to play again. And that is absolutely ridiculous. It's each coach's choice. But if you take away a chance to play games, to put your team on the floor, let them opt out. Talking about the players don't want to play, go ahead. He said it happens in bowl games all the time, but I think it's ridiculous. And I'm with Coach Crean on that.
Yeah.
If I had a team, I would want them to play. Yeah. But as we look at the tournaments, I think South Carolina and on the women's side, and I think the men's probably wide open. I kind of like Purdue with their big guy Edey, man. He is an absolute load, and if they make shots, Tim, they are going to be very difficult to beat because he is a dominant force on the college level. I got a chance to see him play against Michigan in what turned out to be Juwan Howard's last home game as the University of Michigan coach. And they run the same set for Edey every time. They give it to him on the high post. He'll look for a cutter or a pass or screener for a three. If he doesn't have it, he rolls down into the post. They throw it to him. He didn't take a single shot over 3 feet. The only shots he takes outside of 3 feet are free throws, which is why, some people doubt his NBA future. But on the college level, he is hard to deal with, man.
Yeah, well, there'll be people that'll push him out and see what he can do. And you'll probably find out when they do those preseason camp deals in Chicago to get a chance to see what he looks like against guys that are similarly talented. I didn't see enough of him play. I really watched the SEC and the ACC because it's just the idea. I don't respect basketball outside of SEC or ACC.
But think about this. This guy's 7'4", and moves pretty good, has a nice touch, but he wasn't even considered. Some people said he would never gone in the first round of the NBA draft last year.
And I keep seeing things people saying along those lines. They're like, we don't like his game, and I don't know what that, we don't like how he plays. Well, it's been effective. He's the all-time leading scorer at Purdue, which is not saying not-nothing, but but he's I think he's a first-team All-American,
player of the year.
Yeah, player of the year. So everybody else had a chance to shine this year, and he obviously was the best among the rest of them. So
could they not specify what they didn't like about the way he plays?
I did not see that. I'm thinking it's because he doesn't have enough versatility to his game.
Right.
Just throwing the ball up there.
Or maybe he hasn't had a chance to. Yeah, never mind. I'm just
what you're saying is
it's legit. Yeah.
What you're saying is legit. Yeah. And he'll figure, I mean, if nothing else, he'll sit on somebody's bench for 5 or 6 years and make good money.
Right.
Surely he will make somebody's roster. He would be the best center in Detroit right now. Of course, that's not saying very much, but it's a lot of NBA teams like Detroit where damn near anybody can come in and play. It's almost like the old joke with Robin Harris back in the day with the Clippers. He went to the game, and the coach wanted to put him in, and he said he almost had a triple double.
Right.
Robin, can you come back next week? No, man, I can't come back.
You can coach a lot of stuff, but you can't coach Seven, whatever he is.
Yeah.
So, and they'll work with him, because I'm thinking the guy who probably exemplifies that in the NBA right now is a guy who I thought was just height and nothing else, is Bol, because he has developed into a bit of a ball player. I saw him hit a three the other night, and it just blew me away, because he seemed like he was very awkward and just out there taking up space. But it's possible. So maybe that's what they're looking for, is this guy being a project.
You know what? I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller.
Really, that's what you said. That's right. You cannot teach height. And those cats
I could go with some money like that.
But these ladies here, the Lady Gamecocks and their great coach Don Staley, they find a way.
Well, you want to root for him. It's just for the idea that Staley, the kind of coach that she is, and the respect that she has for the game, her apologies and how she tries to have her team play the right way, as opposed to some other people who want to see fisticuff and brawls and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a difference in that. And a person's been consistently on the negative aspect of it. They have a number 3 seed, and you couldn't root harder for a defending champ to go down on the women's side. I haven't been since Brittany Griner was in prison, and she said nothing in support of probably the greatest player who's ever played for her. She's been, Kim has been dead to me. So I'm rooting against her at every turn.
I used to root against UConn because I just got tired of them winning. But
Gina started whining too.
So what, Tim?
REM became a whiner because of the other teams that were competitive.
Yeah, but I do like Dawn Staley's statements, her approach, how she manages the team, and I just think that she's so, professional, is above the fray, and so I like that about her and how she leads her team. So
and she is well aware of her station in life too.
Yes,
in terms of a Black woman.
We have to. We have to.
At South Carolina. And did anybody know anything about South Carolina women's basketball before she got there?
No.
She's getting a statue, so yeah, that speaks.
At the State House. She's not getting a statue in front of the school building.
Right.
At the State House.
That speaks to her impact within South Carolina, for sure.
Yeah. And also in terms of the women's basketball tournament, you see where Grambling and Howard are in the play-in games, right?
Yeah.
Jackson State and I'm trying to see who the other team was. Jackson State and Norfolk State have higher seeds. I mean, Norfolk State's a 15 and Jackson State's a 14. I mean, that's, to me, that speaks to the respect and the level of respect that the Jackson State and Norfolk have. When you have the women's HBCU programs having more juice than the men. And to me, I think that says something about just the overall game. I know Staley's a big fan of Jackson State, and she gave them a vote in the AP poll earlier this year. So
you know what? And speaking of women's basketball on the HBCU level, a shout out to David Six, the great coach at Hampton University, who is stepped down after this year. Guy had a fantastic run. I think he won 5 MEAC championships. Actually, my daughter Shella's played for him, and she was part of 2 of those championships. David Six, man, he was a tough coach, and a very good coach, and just had a tremendous run. And he's calling it quits. And I think David was there probably almost 20 years at Hampton. So we'll be seeing a new coach there. And, they are now in Hampton's in the Big South. Isn't that the Big South where everybody
Yeah,
went?
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see who takes over that program. But definitely a shout out to Coach Six for the great work he's done throughout his career. And those teams, his teams didn't just get tossed into the 16th seed. He had a 14 seed that lost to Kentucky in overtime. They beat LSU and Mississippi State in the regular season a couple of years. Good quality basketball at Hampton under Coach Six.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But
Yeah.
The thing about it, you normally think that the MEAC or SWAC are going to be the sacrificial lambs for the number ones like that, but that's not the case for the women's side. But South Carolina State, South Carolina is going to be playing Sacred Heart. Oh, I'm sorry, Sacred Heart Presbyterian winner. They have a play in on the women's side. So that's who South Carolina gets, and either way you look at it, I mean, you have the Cardosa. She will be suspended for that game. And all those people, the people who be out for that first round game, and it's not like they're going to miss her playing these teams. So it's really a nothing. But South Carolina State can't allow themselves to be lulled into a sense of security. All right. My son's freshman year at Mercer was the year that Mercer knocked off Duke. So you can't sleep on these small schools like that.
Yeah, you better come in. You better come in and play.
I think a lot of times they do underestimate it, and so the smaller teams, and so then they, you see that, a couple of times where that happens. So yeah. They beat Duke. That must have been crazy. What year was that?
2016. Yeah, 2016, and so it was like sitting there. I'm in my Mercer dad shirt watching the basketball game, and it just was crazy. But what you think about the value of like the Dion effect, where enrollment was increased at Colorado. I understand at Mercer, the administration was like telling folks who in the other departments, whatever you want or something to that effect, you go ahead and get it because these checks are flying in. All they had to do, they just beat Duke. You got all these supporters coming in there. Athletics impacts the entire campus.
And that speaks to so much about the impact of sports.
Yeah.
And then the support that, I guess I'm thinking about how the value of checks come in on sports versus a lot of times just the education aspect of the university. And so,
You send a letter to a booster about the win by the debate club and see how much you get.
Well, that's what
sports.
Steve Spurrier said about the University of Florida football team. Some of the faculty were upset that he got whatever he was getting, $3 or $4 million. And he said, well, when that professor could get 80,000 people to come to his lab on a Saturday morning,
That's so wrong. That's so wrong.
It's so wrong. It's so right.
It's so wrong because they're there for, you know what I'm going to say. They're there for education.
Yeah. But you know what? I know nothing about the biology department at the University of Alabama.
So that's just bad marketing. That's just bad marketing.
I know nothing about the marketing classes, the degree at University of Michigan. I know they got a ring this year in football.
Right. That's because you're not following the university. It's like I worked at UGA, and I think that a lot of people only think about UGA and football, but they do a really good job if you follow them about all their various programs.
Oh, their journalism school is one of the best in the country, but nobody's caring about that when football season starts.
That's true.
I mean, it's like Northwestern's great journalism.
But they do a good job. They do a great job of marketing their other programs.
Oh yeah,
professors, staff. Yeah, so I think that I like about UGA.
See, this is going to be the most disingenuous time of the year for these major colleges who are playing these small schools. And I have a back in the day story that
Let me. Okay, I'm ready.
get ready. Mississippi Valley State won the SWAC championship this year, and I was tasked to call Duke. They're gonna play Duke in the first round. Call Duke and get a quote from the coaches there. And this is the deal. And USA Today ran capsules of all the teams in the tournaments. And they this guy named Terry Carter had an I put in his first name. It would look like Thierry Carter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
You
talking.
said had it put in, or that was how it
It
spelled?
was a typo was in there. Thierry. Sort
Okay.
of like trying to think what's the word.
Theory?
Huh?
I don't know. Go ahead.
It was Thierry. It was Thierry. And the deal was maybe it sounded like verification. So somebody put an extra I in there, if something like that. But this had Thierry Carter, and so I asked the Duke coach, "Do you guys know anything about Mississippi Valley State?" He said, "Oh yeah, we know a lot about Mississippi Valley State. We know they have this really super great point guard named Thierry Carter, and we're just really glad that we're gonna have to watch out for him." And I'm like,
for him.
He read that's the capsule in the USA Today that morning with the typo. Oh yeah, we know all about Thierry. It's Terry, sir.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm like,
You straightened them out.
or I did, and I just let it go. I'm like, you lying? Because I just think about was
Can't even take that. We know we ain't got to scout these dudes, man.
exactly. That's exactly what he was saying. I know enough about him. I said, Thierry's got this average of so and so, like. So they're scouting ghosts at Duke.
All we need to know is what time the game starts.
Really.
And we'll be fine.
That was it.
But think
Don't
about
need to worry
this.
about checking names and pronunciation.
No, Let's roll the ball out there and play.
But think about this last year. Last year's Final Four, you had Duke. I mean, you had UConn who went on to win it. Florida Atlantic, Miami, and San Diego State. That's probably the most unlikely Final Four field that you will ever see.
Oh, but I had that.
Not necessarily memorable. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
I didn't know until you said that, Rick.
I was like, really?
Think about it. Florida Atlantic made that run.
Now you said it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm expecting this year. McNeese State's probably going to be the team to do that this year. They're really good.
Yeah, and you know what? The one thing, guys, to always watch for these teams, like you remember James Madison a couple of years ago?
Yeah, and then Loyola, Chicago, and then
these teams that had these teams that had these juniors and seniors, 22, 23 years old, these red shirt seniors, they are young men.
Yes, I love a good Cinderella story.
And they have the maturity. I think they understand their system a lot better than some of these teams, like a Kentucky team. They probably got 4 guys going to the league that are freshmen, and they all go into the NBA after this year. They're just great athletes and great basketball talents now, but they really don't know how to play. It's almost like when you would go to the Y, and you back in the day when we were younger, back in the day, Trey, you go in there, you see these old dudes in there, and they're ruling the court, man.
Yep.
And they can barely get up down the court, but they're beating everybody because they knew how to play. And that's exactly what happens sometimes on the collegiate level when you get great guard play and you get that junior, senior leadership. These teams will surprise you, but it should be fun. I like watching the kid from Tennessee play, Dalton Gannett. He's fun to watch. Tim, you were talking about you mentioned the kid from Stetson. I'm interested to watch Jalen Blackman. Yeah.
I mean, they're these teams that are being just like willed to win by these discrete individual talents, and that's one kid that stands out. Yeah.
So It'll be fun. Now, tell me this. Here's what's important. Will you carve time out Thursday to watch the game? I'm retired now, but back when I was working, I was a sports writer, so kind of had an excuse. But we always had excuses, Tim.
Always excuses.
Baby, I got to go watch the game. Well, you gonna do that?
This is my job.
Yeah.
It wasn't my job, but I would have a television in my office.
Yes.
And I would definitely watch games.
As it is, it's a coincidence. Absolutely. I will be home Thursday. I did not plan it.
Yeah.
I did not plan it for the tournament.
Sure.
I will be home Thursday. And I'm able to pull up 4 games at once.
Yeah. You already got it planned out.
So I'll be sitting up there zoned out. So yeah.
Is it a day off or a day on?
A day off.
Okay.
A day off. It was already planned. So,
it so happens.
I really wasn't thinking about the tournament, because if that had been the case, I'd be off Friday too. Because that's both of them.
True that.
I would have just cut one day.
Yeah, but I guess I've seen so many now. It doesn't quite hold the same allure.
Not quite the same.
That it once did. But hey, let's keep moving, guys, because Tim, we talk about these young kids who can jump out the gym and
jump out the gym, huh?
Well, here I don't know what you call this, but this occurred last night.
Jalen Johnson, he goes, and LeBron has his pocket pick
right
right
here.
away.
LA Lakers, Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson, he goes right up and over Austin Reeves.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, first,
What a
that's
way to
dad
start
right
the
there. That's
game.
mom and
That's
dad.
going to be on television
First play of the
tonight.
game.
I mean, he just
First
takes
basket.
off and goes up over him, and one, and he looks at him like, "Are you crazy? You won't get in front of this?"
Good heavens.
Only his doctor is supposed to see that.
Save something for later in the game.
No.
Dude, Mr. Free throw.
Wow.
No, only his doctor is supposed to give him a checkup. He's right there.
Wow.
And they lost the game. I mean,
And he lost by 31 points. But that two right there is going to be one they're going to play that one forever. And it would have been the dunk of the night had it not been for another one.
and the reporter asked Austin Reeves after the game. Austin and Reeves had good natured about it. He said, "Yeah, go on and ask me about the dunk." Well, what about the dunk?
Do we have the clip?
He said, "What was your view of it?" He said, "You would not want my view of it." Because his crotch was all in his face. Now, that was a great dunk.
Oh, yeah.
But this is right there with it. This is courtesy of Anthony Edwards.
Anthony, great game, my man. So after the game,
he was everything we need
on that dunk. Here we go.
Ah! Oh my God. Hey, that was my best dunk of my career. I'm not gonna lie.
You've had some good ones.
I didn't even react because I dislocated my finger. You see it?
On your left hand too.
I couldn't react to it. I wish I could have reacted to it. I wish I could have.
All right, so dunk. Here we go.
Ah! Oh my God. Hey, that was my best dunk of my career. I'm not gonna lie.
You've had some good ones.
I didn't even react because I dislocated my finger.
And you see John Collins, former Atlanta Hawk, sitting up there rubbing his head like he actually got hurt. He wants some sympathy.
Was that his head or his feelings?
That's his feelings, because all on the internet today, all I kept seeing was R.I.P. JC. That was John Collins.
And what is John? 6'9", 6'10"?
6'9". Yeah. All I kept seeing, that's all I could see is like R.I.P. Everybody was just on him.
Anthony Edwards, when he was coming out of Georgia, I mean, he was really, obviously, he was the number one pick, but he was kind of raw at Georgia.
I didn't see that all of that when he was up there at Athens. Did not see not a lick of that ability. But again, that's why I don't evaluate.
You saw the athleticism at Georgia.
Oh yeah, he had the athleticism. You just didn't see the game, and he's getting only better. And I heard somebody today say, right now he is the best player, pound for pound, in the NBA, and that says a lot. So, hats off. They said, would you ever think there'd come a day when you would say there'd be somebody better than Karl Anthony Towns on the Timberwolves? And it's happened. It's there. So they're blessed to have that kid on their squad. That's a highlight reel every night with him. And I'm quite sure John Collins. I don't know if people still do posters on walls. Man, I think he and Austin Reeves, both of those cats are like, they know they're all going to be on posters on walls across the globe with those dunks. So,
I think there'll just be memes and.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for the meme where they're going to show somebody like when they hit the ground, and they're going to have the dirt pile and a headstone pop up behind these guys. Just as to talk about them real bad.
And the crotch shot.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, oh man, that's difficult.
Yeah, man. Those guys are definitely good at that level. But you ended up losing by 31. Come 31. On.
Well, see, they were. It was an afterglow because the night before they played the Clippers in the same building and beat them by 30. Yeah. So it's like, we got this LA thing licked. No. So that's maybe they got some kind of hoodwinked too, because I saw at least an hour before the game they were saying that James and Davis were not going to play, and I saw that they did, and these guys probably weren't ready for that. So who knows? I'm making excuses for them because they beat the like
that's very nice of you. You're a nice person that makes.
Yeah, well, they beat them by 25 here about a month ago. They beat the Lakers, but Davis didn't play. So and
the Hawks are still in the 10th spot though, right? They're in the play-in.
By the skin of their teeth, with Trae Young still out with that bad finger, and they had like 2 or 3 people that are out injured. I expected the route that happened last night to happen the night before as well. They're going to end up their road trip tomorrow night in Portland. Not Portland, in Phoenix, which is going to be another L. So they can limp on back to Atlanta.
Well, you know who won the week though in the National Football League? Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers, man. How could they not win the week when you got 2 quarterbacks for what? $13 million?
Right.
No, not even that.
They paid Russ a minimum because most of his contract's being paid by the Broncos. And then whatever Justin has left, and I think he's got maybe 2 years on his deal.
Yeah, and now here's some highlights of Fields. Just tremendous athlete, and I'm sure they're going to try to incorporate
what he does.
Into the because this is what he does. The first 4 plays of this highlight reel is him running, which tells you the problem with Justin Fields.
Right. Because the guy's not open right now, I'm taking off. He's not going to sit there and go for the second and third progression. It's like, I got to get out of here. He didn't even look downfield at this run right here. He was just going to go. And he's got a great receiver to throw to in Pickens there in Pittsburgh, and Pickett could never get him the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see that.
Well, between Russell and I mean, that's quite a tandem.
Yeah, they both run well. Russ knows how to get down and get out the way so he didn't take a big hit, which this kid doesn't yet. He doesn't know how to do that yet. Yeah,
but I liked him. You know what, Tim? Now you guys could have got him for cheap, brother.
Didn't want him, and see, but this is the thing.
But wouldn't you rather have him for
No.
what you had to pay?
No,
Just a 6th-round pick?
I wanted Russ. Because I thought that he's somebody that probably would if they're going to get a quarterback somewhere later on down the road and later on in the draft, I would to have him teach him as opposed to learning behind Fields. That's the thing, because Fields wouldn't be going anywhere anytime soon. The kid, I think he's on the last year of his contract or the last 2 years of a contract. No, I like it that we have Cousins, or I would have liked it had he not. Somebody should have given him some media training at the press conference, because it was his quotes about contact that have gotten the Falcons in trouble about tampering.
Right.
So there's no walking that back. During the dead period, he said, "Yeah, I spoke with a trainer and blah blah blah," and it's like right then, tampering.
And who? I think also the Eagles are in trouble.
Oh, yeah, they supposed to talk to Saquon Barkley before the period. The Falcons seem like their thing is more egregious, so they pretty much can count on them losing maybe a 1st-round pick and some money and some other stuff. They're going to have to make an example of them, because everybody tampers. Because everybody had these deals signed on last Wednesday.
Right.
For somebody who hadn't talked to anybody to sign a deal that day, that's not right. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out, or if anybody's going to get in trouble behind that. But Justin they got 2 great quarterbacks, but the deal is this: the offensive coordinator, you know who he is for the Steelers?
Who?
Arthur Smith. Name ring a bell? Former Falcon head coach. He's the offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
He had a chance to draft Justin Fields in Atlanta and didn't.
Wow.
So he's going to have to work with a cat that he didn't think was good enough coming out of college. So that's an interesting take over there.
It is.
But he'll also have Mike Tomlin in his ear, who players just seem to love to play for. So that'll be helpful to him. But it was James Franklin that kind of blew the whistle on the Eagles, because he was talking about Tree, how he had spoken with the Eagles about Saquon coming over and everything. That was his coach in college. Like, dude, you're snitch, man. Keep your mouth.
Snip it. Nip it in the butt. Yeah, why are you doing that?
Right.
Snitches get stitches. I'm like, come on.
Bitches
You
lose.
talked about how they recruited him and how he spoke directly to Howie Roseman way before the tampering started.
Yeah. We say snitches lose picks. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
But to your point, right? Media training and what questions might come up.
Right.
And how to answer those.
Yeah. Hey, Kirk, I know you're excited, but don't say too much, because now you cost us. You cost us down the road, son. That's what's gonna have to happen.
But I don't even know how much that. I mean, they're free agents. So what, man?
Yeah, but you're not supposed to. They have rules. They allow some the legitimate tampering the first couple of days. They want that because they want the content. They want to be in the headlines. People talk about the NFL.
Well, yeah, that's true.
For 2 or 3 days, and then they get up there and they have the signings and go forward.
That's a good point.
NFL, you hear this a year-round thing with those cats. You got the draft.
But you go to the combine in February. All those guys are there. You think they're not talking? Come on, man.
You're not talking about the family or going to the steakhouse over there in St. Elmo's in Indy.
St. Elmo's? Come on.
They're not talking about going to St. Elmo's or going anywhere else. They're talking about what's up. So
but anyway, we got the start of the Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I put down there last week of spring training, but tomorrow morning at 6:50 a.m. our time, the Dodgers will be playing the Padres in Seoul, Korea.
Are you gonna? Well, I know you'll probably be up, but for those who retire, we don't have to be up that early. And
That's
how
okay. I know I have both of your phone numbers. I'll make sure that you're up to watching.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really
I know
appreciate
you're both big Dodgers and Padres fans. You're big Shohei Ohtani fans.
Yes.
So I'll make sure that you are appropriately appraised.
Text
Hey,
me.
is he playing tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I mean,
I know
saw
he's not pitching. He's okay to.
he just started throwing this week, so he had that elbow surgery. But the deal is, people, ESPN did this long, just laborious piece on the Dodgers today, and really, it is talking about they only got 3 players really. They got Mookie leading off, Freddie Freeman second, and Shohei Ohtani, and then everybody else. And but they got 3 pitchers. They got the pitcher from Japan, the guy from Glasnow from Tampa, and Kershaw. But they have nothing behind those guys. So in a matter of a week with Ohtani and the guy from Japan, they spent $500 million to sign him. And they still probably won't win.
$500 million.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
When
I know somebody that could use $500 million right about
I
now.
could use $1 billion. I don't.
Just give me 100,000.
What $1 billion? I don't know.
He just needs to stay out of jail. So
that's what I'm saying. $100 billion. $500 million. But the deal is, they are trying so hard to try to erase what happens to them. Those guys, Dodgers were one of the best teams in baseball the past 2 years. Last year, they got swept by Arizona, the eventual team that went on to the World Series. And the year before that, they wet the bed, so to speak, because they were one of the best teams in baseball. It's like the Braves the last couple of years. High-flying offenses, stinking it up in the playoffs. So they said they were trying to do all this to keep pace with the Braves. And I don't think they did enough to beat up for 3 players. Because, once you get to that top third of the lineup, then what?
I'll tell you what, I hope the Braves catch the Phillies in the playoffs again this year and give them the ass whooping they should have gave them last year.
The Phillies have gotten better. They have gotten better. So it's like really in that 14 division is, the Mets still stink, as do the Nationals. So it's just those 2 to duke it out over there in that division. So we'll see how that goes with how they play with the baseball in that regard.
Do you have some games that you're planning to go to in Atlanta, Tim?
Funny you should say that. I'll be there for the opening of the Mets series, April 8th. I'll be there when they play the Mets. They're gonna give out a special bobblehead that night, I believe. That's the 50th anniversary of Aaron hitting 715. So they're gonna make a big special night out of that. And I think they're gonna have some sort of block party in the neighborhood where the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium used to be. Because out there in the parking lot, I think Georgia State has that area now. Georgia State has that ballpark, the new one, the one that was built after Atlanta Fulton County. There's a little plaque and a shrine out there to where the ball landed for 715. It's still out there. So they're going to have a block party to celebrate that in conjunction with the 50th anniversary.
Are you going to the block party?
I heard about it today. I'm thinking about it. Block
party.
Okay. Come on down.
Come on up. April 8th.
All right. Do that.
Right.
So I look forward to seeing they're going to be really good this year. And it's they don't have a lot of holes. It's just how pitching holds up. And the deal is they're pitching so tight. It's a guy, Bryce Elder, who was on the All-Star team last year, is in AAA Gwinnett now. They are.
Wow.
I remember you talking about him. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were like that's where the depth is, and it's like if anybody falters, they got 3 guys on the starting in the rotation in AAA that are could have made the team this year, but they had too many people in front of them. So we'll see. Pitching was their Achilles heel last year, and we'll see what's up. I gotta try to catch more games this year as it is.
I think you should.
Three, you should come on up. Rick, come on. If the Tigers are in town, man, we should make that a trip, dude.
Hey, I would do that. You know, I'm gonna try to get there for the. Oh no, I think no, the Hall of Fame, the HBCU Black College Hall of Fame induction is still in
It's still
Atlanta.
in Atlanta. It comes in. That's
Yeah,
that's pretty much late in the year. And sometimes I think it might be in the summer. I'm
in
not sure.
June. They're having something in June that I plan on coming for. To support my buddy Joe 747 Adams. Hey, quickly before we get out of here, so I will be in A-Town this summer. Hey, I mentioned Juwan Howard being fired at the University of Michigan. Of course, Juwan is a Michigan legend, part of the Fast Five. He has taken his firing with class, for a great letter, thanking the university and everything. But his players did not want him to go, and I'm thinking maybe I should have played a little better.
Really,
he was, because he started the year off. He did not coach like the first 9 games. He had a heart attack. He had heart surgery, and he thought about sitting the year out. Came back, and I'm thinking if he'd have set the year out, he still have a job now. But, man, a lot of these kids have left the program with Juwan leaving. At least I see there's probably the best player, Terrace Reed, and the point guard left today. They had all supported Juwan publicly. And I think they may have the trainer and the manager left to suit up going into next season. So you talk about, we were going to get into this transfer portal and the pros and cons of the NIL. And I think this is an example of guys using the transfer portal to make a point.
right.
Well, as opposed to,
It being really about finances or something like that. This is to make a statement.
Yeah. So that's been very interesting here. But most of the time it's just so easy to do now. And last year we had 1,600 guys going to the portal, and I think only 500 or so, maybe 600, got picked up by other schools. So you got 1,000 kids walking around that aren't playing basketball. Same happens with football, by the way. A lot of these kids don't get picked up.
Yeah, some of them get some really bad advice. They should just sit tight, and it's a matter of not wanting to compete. And that's the thing. But I'm just harking back. So to bounce back to the pro level, I understand the quarterback Pickett forced a trade to the Eagles because he didn't want to compete against Russell Wilson. Now he's not competing against Russell Wilson of the Seahawks. He's competing against Russell Wilson of the Denver Broncos.
34-year-old Russell
and he thought that was too much for him, and he forced his way out. So,
now he's backing up a 24-year-old.
Right, and he's accepting being a backup, but he wasn't going to be. He didn't want to be a backup to Russ or Fields, which is that's neither here nor there. But these kids, the same way, it's like I didn't get a lot of playing time. I'm out. Yeah. Unless you're transferring back home, or for those kind of reasons, I think it's weak. It's making a lot of coaches leave the business, which it's not all a bad thing. Before we get out, so we got 5 minutes. Rick, September 17th through the 19th, the Detroit Tigers are here in Atlanta.
Ooh, okay.
Two night games, and the last game is an afternoon delight.
And we'll be fighting for that Central Division playoff spot.
In June?
Maybe so. The American League Central is so bad. I mean, you got the Twins got a decent team, and then you got everybody else. The White Sox are bad. Cleveland's not nearly as good as they used to be. So there's hope in Detroit.
So what, Ricky?
There's hope in Detroit.
There's hope. That would be a good game to go to for sure.
Yeah.
So when the Tigers will be here, man. So you got to.
All right.
Hey.
Set it up, Tim. Set it up. Set it up.
We will make it happen for sure. We will make it happen. Any final thoughts, Tree?
No. I am looking forward to though, basketball,
Yeah.
and then moving on from there. I can't, not that I can't focus on more than one thing, but I like the fact that this is my time of year that I really like to pay attention to sports. And I might not pay attention all year long, but when it comes down to the tournament, or some people say, Tim, tournament.
Tournament. Yeah. TUNA, the tournament.
Tournament.
Yeah.
Who won the tournament?
I hate that. But the time for tournament time, I think that to me, that's the most exciting time for college basketball.
Oh, I agree. I mean, like I said, I haven't watched it all year. I'll be going to that set Thursday and Friday and Saturday, Sunday. Like I've been watching it the whole time. It's like this is the most phony aspect of sports the whole year. Everybody's like, yeah, I know.
Everybody's like, let me do my brackets, but I don't know who the teams are. But I mean, I used to watch, throughout the season. I've just been busy.
It'll be fun because somebody will make a run. It'll be another Florida Atlantic.
I'm a big Colgate fan this year.
Yeah, hey, maybe so. Hey, I just saw the wire. The Wolverines just lost their top recruit for next year.
There you go.
He's committed. Yeah, I mean, they have to start over. Juwan was a big loss, but you lose 24 games, man. He went 8-24.
Right, and you can't be crazy. You can't be crazy and lose 24 games.
Right, and he had issues beyond the court.
Yeah, so you can't just do that kind of stuff.
Dude, he made some enemies for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking back. Everybody over here in Georgia is looking looking westward to Alabama. There's not a single team from Georgia in the tournament. Alabama has 4 schools in the tournament.
Wow.
I think
Georgia was winning their NIT game when we went on the air.
It was tied. It was about to go into overtime when last I looked.
My goodness, they won 13 when I was.
It was tied a second ago. The idea that you got Alabama, you got UAB, Auburn, Samford, and I think Troy State are all the 4 schools that are in the tournament, and that is, there's envy over here behind that.
Wow. Well, good luck to everybody. We got to get out of here. For Tim Turner, my friend Tree Mcdougal, I'm Rick Hampton. Check us out next week.
All right. Be kind, everybody. See you next week.
Peace.